Hello everyone, my name is Roya, and today I'm coming to you with my worst reads of 2024. Sadly, maybe not so sadly, none of these books are as bad as most of the books that made my list last year. I definitely have some shit to say about most of these books, but for the most part, like, last year's list was definitely a lot more just awful books. And I've had a lot more really bad reads. Whoops. I've had a lot more years of really bad reads, that this year's list really does not make them seem all that bad. So I'm just gonna kind of go into the books and just a few of the things that made them bad. So, coming in at number 5 is The Winter King. Mainly the only reason that this is on this list is basically because of how boring it was. Because this is a romance book, and the entire reason, the whole thing about a romance book is that it's supposed to have people who want to be together but for whatever reason can't, or don't think they can, or whatever the deal is. Here, we have two people who hate each other and are shoved together. That's not really a romance book, and it's not even really an enemies to lovers type of thing at all either. It's like the whole time they don't like each other. And so I'm wondering, why am I rooting for this couple? Like, I'm not, basically. Like, I don't give a crap about this couple because they don't seem to me like anyone who wants to be together. So why do I want to read this? So I actually quit before the end because I just did not care at all. It was a huge bummer because I did read another one of her book, the same author's books, just last year or the year before, and it was actually a lot better than this one. So it did not have this particular problem at all. Coming in at number 4, Crowning Soul. This is mainly, I think all the problems in this book are caused by the fact that it's an indie book, so I don't think it got the attention it deserved in terms of, the real brutal editing and storytelling, fixing and everything, because for the most part, all the storytelling in this book was just so clunky. It did not add up. We were just given stuff that had nothing to do with anything, and it just did not make any sense, and the book is so long. I literally didn't even actually read the whole thing because it was like a 600-page book, and the vast majority of it could have been cut out. So yeah, and then we're even given like twists in kind of a like just nonchalant way where there was no reason for the main character to not know this before. It's like, why is she being told this now? There's no, because usually when a main character finds out something that like her parents or other people like knew already, it's because there was some reason for them to actually keep it a secret. But they totally don't. They kind of just come out to her and say like, hey, so by the way, this. And that like doesn't make any sense. Like, oh yeah, so by the way, we're royalty in another world. Like, okay, was there any reason to not have told her that before? Like, so there were just no stakes. There was just no, no conflict that I cared about, no character that I cared about. And that is just such a bummer because I was really, excited to read this. So, anyway, coming in at number 3, we have Fourth Wing. This is obviously a book that I already wrote a whole rant review about, that you can already go and watch. So mostly everything that I have for you regarding that book is in that review already, but basically the entire book is clunky as heck. The dialogue is just cringy and bad, like cringily bad, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And there is basically no character development. There is no, no anything. Nothing about this book was good. But when we get on to books, 1 and 2 here, they make Fourth Wing look like an amazing book. So, at least Fourth Wing did keep me entertained on a road trip, like, at least it was so bad that, it was kind of funny, These next two books are not so bad that they're kind of funny. They are just bad. Coming in at number 2, Last Memoria. This is about a girl who can take people's memories from them, and she has basically been like made to take a lot of people's memories and more of them than she necessarily wants. And unfortunately, when she takes it away from them so they don't remember it, she remembers it as if she were there. So she picks up a lot of people's just bad, awful trauma and stuff, and it's just not great. So the main thing that makes, so this sounded to me like such an interesting premise, but the main character had no personality. No one in this book really had any personality. This was billed as a romance of some kind, and there is absolutely no romance in it. Apparently, the other main character was in love with that main character, but we see nothing of the sort in this entire book. It doesn't make sense. Our other main character has a 6-month gap in his memories that he doesn't know. He has no idea what happened during that time. And our main character basically tells him that that's because his friend should be able to redeem himself. And it's kind of, and obviously rightly so, our main character with the missing memories kind of goes, hey, that's not right. Like, it shouldn't be up to someone else if they get redeemed or not. It should be up to me and all of that stuff. But but our main character, like, really doesn't care. She just says, like, no, it's up to him, basically, with no real reason why. It just doesn't make any sense. Nothing that anyone did in this entire book made any kind of sense at all. The main character who can take people's memories away is constantly referred to as a half-breed, just like as if that's a normal, not even as an insult, not even someone insulting her saying that, but just in general, just like, oh, the half-breed girl, like, blah, 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 like, and that was just so weird to me, because it's like, sure, I can call myself a half-breed, but if you call me a half-breed, you're an asshole, like, it's not something you're just gonna, like, say, just describing someone in a non-insulting way. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. And then also, what is she half of? That's never said. Like, is she half person who can take people's memories away because only one of her parents could do that? Like, we're not really given any of that. I don't, like, because if you can take someone's memories away and you have that ability, you have that whole ability. You're not half anything. Like, that doesn't make sense. So what are they talking about? It didn't make any sense. Nothing that gets talked about in this book makes any sense. And it was a really hard book to get through because we're not told what people's reactions even are to anything. In fact, when our other main character with the memories missing gets one of his memories back, he doesn't have any reaction to it, basically. So the memory he gets back is of his friend, who is a dude, having sex with another dude. And he walks in and he's like mad about it. He's mad about his friend having sex with another dude. And it's like, okay, well, we have no idea if he knew that his friend liked dudes. We don't know if this upset him, if, like, he knew who it was he was sleeping with, like, why he was upset about it. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, none of it made sense. And so it was literally just giving us this character is gay for a total, like, shock factor, which obviously I don't appreciate because that's weird. So this book just made absolutely no sense, and I didn't like it at all. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the worst read of 2020. I almost said 2027. Oh my god. No, 2023. Hold Me Closer, Necromancer by Lish McBride. This book was just a hot mess. It makes absolutely no sense the whole way through. So this is about a boy who finds out that he's a necromancer because his dad is a necromancer, or his dad was a necromancer. And he didn't know who his dad was at all. So first of all, since when is necromancy a hereditary ability? Like, you have to have it pretty well thought out to make that work. Normally it's something that you, like, learn how to do and all that stuff. So having it be like an ability that you can just do is so weird. And it did not work. Like, once the main character kind of figures out what he can do, it's kind of just really arbitrary what he can do and what he can't. Like, there are no clearly defined limits in it. And we don't see that until almost the end of the book anyway. And what's weird is that necromancy in this book appears to have more to do with like summoning spirits than bringing dead bodies like back, you know? So it's like, what are you doing? Like, to what extent are you doing what? I don't understand. But we do see dead bodies actually coming to life too. So it's like, what is it? You know, it doesn't make any sense. And then basically just nothing is thought out about this book at all. Like, the stakes are just not there. One of the main character's friends is just a head. He like finds out that she was killed and just her head is brought back to life. And they're all just kind of like, oh, like you're just a head now. That's so weird. What happened? Like, no one's like shocked, you know. It's just kind of like, this whole book is like, people don't act like this. And then also the main character, apparently, like his mother reveals to him that she's a witch, and he didn't know this, when his name is literally Soen. She named him Soen. Why do you not know your mother was a witch? Come on. You are an idiot. Like, give me a break. Like, so this whole thing was just, it made no sense. And then also there were just some weird writing style choices and just like weird metaphors and just other weird stuff being described that just made absolutely no sense. So for example, like someone saying that in internal monologue that they're good at, so because they're a skater, they're good at getting away from cops. And I'm like, does this author think that skating is illegal? And then there's something about a panda having to be, that like died at the zoo and had to be brought back to life. So basically it's an undead panda that's at the zoo, because China would be upset, and would like cause a conflict. And it's like, why would China necessarily care about a panda dying of natural causes in a Seattle zoo? Like, I know China, like, you know, there are whole things involving pandas, and pandas have a whole extra, like, layer of protection there. But I'm pretty sure that does not extend to China wanting to just cause a whole conflict because of a panda that died in the US. Like, what the heck? Or when a bad guy is about to hit the main character, and the main character is saying that, you know, usually you can tell when someone's about to do something like that because there's a change in their eyes and their face expressions. But it says, but Bloody Blah's eyes stayed the same flat brown. And like, okay, does someone's eye color change when they like are about to hit you? Like, that seems like a really weird way of trying to describe what was trying to be described there. Like, why was eye color in there? Like, just the writing in this book was so bad. And then the way that people were described in this book was just, she was gorgeous, or he was handsome, and it's like with no actual descriptions at all. And then when we do get any kind of description about someone, it's usually something really weird, like, he looked like a stray dog. Like, what does that mean? That gives us nothing about what that means. And then also all the chapter titles of the all the chapters were songs. They were either song titles or puns on song titles. There were both in there. It couldn't even stick to either or. But and like, yeah, it related to that chapter, but there was nothing about music or songs or anything in this book whatsoever. So the making the chapter titles songs absolutely did not work. It had nothing to do with the rest of the book, so it just really fell flat. This whole book made absolutely no sense, and it still wasn't 1 star. Like, honestly, I still gave it 2 stars because it still wasn't quite bad enough to be 1 star. So none of these books were as bad as a lot of the books that made my worst list last year, but, you know, you can see why I did not like them. So anyway, so thank you so much for watching. If you've read any of these, have any thoughts on them, let me know in the comments, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye!